Welcome to Talk Tennis. Today, I am joined by two awesome, not only pro players, but tennis content creators. That's such a trendy word. Gladiators Tennis, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I actually want you guys to introduce each other. So introduce the other one.
Yeah, so this is Arik, my very close friend, also partner on court and partner on YouTube. Mainly a comedian, then tennis player. Just overall a great dude.
Wow, that's a good intro.
Now I don't want to do his because I don't know how to do it better. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Just a fabulous dude, just the perfect dude. Grisha is, of course, once again a close friend of mine, and yeah, with a lot of bright ideas. That's where all this project came from. We're gonna talk about that too. But yeah, a guy with dreams and bright future look. I don't know. Yeah, done.
So you guys like each other. It's a love fest already. It's not just for the camera. Well, okay. So you have this awesome brand and channel, and we're going to get into that. But now I want you to talk about yourself now and give me your background. How did you start playing tennis? Where are you at with your tennis right now? And I kind of have so many little sub questions. So we'll start from there. Grisha, you want to start it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I feel like I'm going to answer for both of us because we're sort of in the same situation tennis-wise.
Perfect.
And basically playing futures, playing qualification of futures, which is basically sort of the first level of professional tournaments where you can earn ITF and ATP points. I mean, we're almost at the level where we can pass qualifying on a futures, but that's I would say pretty high level, and the difference between playing quali and playing main draw is not that big, and it's mainly mental. But we're still stuck in the quali where you get almost nothing for playing, and you spend the same amount of effort, money, and everything. So we're in a pretty uncomfortable place, but it's part of it.
And where are you from originally, and how did you even start playing tennis?
I'm originally from Russia, and I started playing here. I'm actually in Russia right now. So I started playing here, but I moved to Spain at the age of 10. Yeah, I mean, Spain is probably one of the best countries to play tennis at. We have quite a few good tennis players. And yeah, I started in Russia, but to like properly train and actually dedicate myself to tennis, that happened in Spain.
Nice. Okay, same question.
When it comes to my background, when people ask me like where am I from, that's like my nightmare, that question, because Grisha knows I don't know how to answer to that. Basically, you can almost choose a country and it will be right. Like my mom is from Argentina, my dad is from Lebanon. I was born in Armenia and now I live in Spain.
Wow.
So I don't know what to answer. It's like, all right, you choose.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the amount of questions we get when we say that Arik is Armenian, and then when he plays tournaments, he plays under an Argentinian flag, and everyone what do you mean? Wasn't Arik Armenian?
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in Argentina, in Argentina, tennis is very a very popular sport. So like that's why I started, because mainly because of, let's say, my family, from my mom's side, everybody has been a fan of tennis. They would always watch tennis, not in a professional level, but they would play since they were little. So yeah, it was a natural thing for me to happen to end up here, let's say.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it, let's say.
Okay, before I ask how you met, but I'm kind of guessing there might have been like an academy meet crossover. How old are you guys?
I'm 21. He's 22.
Okay.
And the story behind our is actually very interesting, because we were playing this national tournaments in Spain, Barcelona, and that was when I just started sort of the professional dedicated tennis career. Okay, and I was playing those national tournaments, and I kept losing in like first, second, maybe third round of those pretty starting level tournaments. And then my dad was scrolling through the draws of those tournaments, and he was like, "Yeah, there's this dude who is literally beating everyone 6-love, 6-love, and getting final, beating them like 6-1, 6-love. And he's from Armenia, and I'm like, what? How? Like, and he's like your age. I'm like, no way. And so my dad sort of arranged a meeting with, so that we sort of play, and I see what the good players in Spain play.
Nice.
And our story started, because at that point he was like, for me it was like, oh.
I mean, I feel good that you talk stuff like this about me, but I wasn't the god. It was just at the moment, like at my age, I did pretty well, let's say, on the national tournaments. But actually, the story is like that's how we met. But after that, maybe we didn't talk. Like we never talked. It was just like we would maybe sometimes casually meet in some random tournaments, and we would both act like the most serious people ever. It was just like hi, just serious, these tough guys, just saying hi, and
Yeah.
that was it. So, then we found out that both of us were a bit, crazy. But at first we thought we were like the serious guys, and that's it.
At the age of, I think, 14 or so, was about the same, just so you know. It was,
This is funny because I can see it all like play out. Like you're super awkward at that age anyways, and then you're like, I don't know, is this guy like think he's better than me? Like, are we friends? Are we not friends? Yeah. So the rest is history. When did your channel start, and when did you who was like, oh, this would be a great idea? How did that start?
That was like a year and a half ago.
Okay, so like pandemic times.
No, actually, no. The idea happened way before the pandemic. The initial idea was to create an academy.
Okay.
I think that we should create an academy, and we were actually, and it was almost like starting pretty well because it was just Arik and I. We were actually 5, and it was a good start because it's easier to handle it. And the channel was sort of like a side thing, that was just for us, and we'd post sometimes because we thought it was a fun idea. But then the account didn't really happen because nobody else really wanted to dedicate their time into creating it, and just the two of us, it's a little bit hard to keep pulling that. So we just stayed with the channel because we were really fired up, and we really wanted to keep doing that. So yeah, we were like, all right, we can sort of handle the YouTube, so let's keep doing that. And it ended up being a pretty fun thing because our audience is probably like the best audience ever in the world possible. The amount of support they give us, and sort of keep us going, and yeah, it's just that's kind of how it started. But yeah, the idea was way before the pandemic. It's just that we started recording videos, and even before we started the channel, we already had a few videos because we thought we're not going to be able to record, edit, and post. But yeah, the actual channel started a year and a half ago or so.
Nice. And you do have some really great fans. They're super loyal, and they're your biggest cheerleaders.
Every time we read a comment, we question, do we really deserve, like
Dude,
that much?
Take it.
And that's a good thing. Yeah.
As someone that's seen some not so nice sides comments on channels, that's so cool that you've kind of created this atmosphere, and you're obviously creating content that people are like really excited to see and all of that. I have so many questions, but I have to ask because I know a lot of people are very invested in your channel and love watching your videos, and you guys do an amazing job of giving like a full perspective. But what kind of equipment are you using?
Arik, do you want to start with yours? Because I've been talking for some time now.
I have. I'm currently using when it comes to rackets is the head.
Oh, whoa! Sorry. I'm speaking specifically about video equipment.
Oh no, then I'll take that.
Okay. I was like, we're not there yet. Sorry.
No, I understood, but right now I'm using a very bad phone, and I didn't want it to talk about that. Like my equipment, I didn't want it to mention. Like, better talk about the racket.
He's like, I'm very pixelated. It's okay, we'll fix it in post. No, but like you guys have drone shots and like all that. So talk to me about the video equipment.
So I was in geography, let's say, since I was like small, maybe I don't know, 14 or so, I started to get into video side of things. That's why it was a little easier for us to start because I already knew how to edit and how to film kind of, and I had these most of the equipment we needed. But and we had like action cameras and then like DSLRs and everything. But right now, most of the things that we shoot are shot from my phone.
Nice.
The iPhone, because like it's totally enough for us. It's very convenient, versatile. It has the front camera, the rear camera, and 4K 60 FPS. We're good.
Yeah.
Apple doesn't pay us, sadly, but the iPhone does much better than all the professional equipment that you can find. Like, it's true. Like, that's why we're like, all right.
For the price of an iPhone, let's say, yeah.
Better.
No. Yeah. Drone, actually, it was funny. I got the drone way in the beginning of the YouTube channel. I don't think we had any videos, and I'm like, we need a drone. And I bought a drone for like, I think it was like 500 euros back then. And the guys, they were like, but now it's cool because we take it everywhere. We sometimes film with it. And it's a cool thing, to sort of change up a little bit the shots sometimes.
Nice. Okay. Now we can move into tennis gear. That's fine. We'll get into that. I actually am very curious to hear how you guys play test, because if you talk to, let's say, someone in the top 100 on the WTA or the ATP, they are very like, I won't touch a racket until the season's over. And then they have all of 2 weeks to demo and try new things. So you guys are obviously competing week after week after week, but you're also doing some really cool reviews on different rackets, like all kinds of different stuff from, control rackets to spin rackets to power rackets, heavy, light, all of the above. So let's hear your current gear of choice. Now we can talk about rackets and strings. And then I want to hear about how you fit the playtesting in.
All right, you go.
All right. Grisha?
So we already had a sneak peek.
I go. All right. All right. You will never guess, but I use a head, speed, and feet.
No way.
Previous generation. Yeah. Previous generation. And I added it's 15 grams. Same balance, it's just 15 grams more. If I have to talk about the fact that we have to try new rackets, mm-hmm. which obviously is not the best thing, because if you compete, people try new rackets only when they're on preseason. So we sometimes have to do this right before a tournament. So hopefully my coach doesn't watch this podcast, because if he knows that I play test and then go directly to a match, it's not going to be the best, look for me. But it's true. Of course, of course it's a sacrifice. It's not the best case scenario for us. But the other side, we have fun. We create these videos, and it's not that big of a deal. You just get used to it, and it's fine. Yeah. And sorry, but I have to say that at first, I think that my arm wasn't used to that. And when I was changing rackets all the time, sometimes I had, this thing called tennis elbow, some issues like this. But with time, it's I guess my body was like, all right, no other way other than doing what this Arek wants to do. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's funny, because we just released, 2 weeks ago, we released the review of the Battlefield Aero 2023, and what was funny is that we did the review of that racket on the week of tournament of futures that we played, and play tested it the day before the tournament, so that was kind of funny. I brought 2 rackets with me, only 2. Yeah, that's a very professional thing to do. And they were both low in tension, it was horrible, with the flights and everything. It was, I get 26 kilograms. I'm not sure how much that is in pounds, but maybe it was at 21, and I couldn't play with my racket. And I'm like, okay, all right, give me the Aero. And so I started playtesting. For me, honestly, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I know the pros, they're always like, yeah, I can only play with my racket, and if I don't play with my racket, I'm not that kind of, I'm not at that kind of level, obviously, but I can play with a different racket and then switch back to mine pretty quickly. I feel the difference, but I can get used to it quick enough.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I have to ask, do you get rackets from anyone? And what is your normal setup, Grisha?
It's a Head Gravity Pro.
So are we
It's
head sponsored players, or are we just playing with
no,
what?
we're not sponsored. No, we're not.
Head, attention, Head. Please
We're not
please contact them at Gladiators Tennis.
Mine is spec 130 grams with a leather grip, and and I use if that's important, Luxilin 130 most of the time.
Yes, I was going to ask you guys what strings you use, and if you string do you have a portable stringer that you take with you? Are you stringing, or are you paying for stringing?
We do have, Arik has a portable stringer. Arik, where did you get your portable stringer?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not the cheapest thing ever. The stringer. I have the Pro stringer. So I got it from Grisha, basically. Yeah. So thank you, my friend. But it's not the latest model. Let's say now it's maybe 5 years old or something like that. I don't know. No, something like that, Grisha, maybe. So
I sold it to him, just so you know.
yeah, and one of the clamps is not perfect also, so I rely on my prayers when I string. It's like, I hope it's fine, it's something like that. Every time I string.
I hope you got it on sale.
The thing is that if you string yourself, yeah, but if you string yourself, it's like at the end, it's like which is the perfect way to use the machine. So for me, it's absolutely fine, honestly. And of course, in the tournaments, it's just they're professional at stealing money when it comes to futures when they string your racket. No, but it's incredible. No, now I'm depressed when I think of it. It's like sometimes it's like 20 euros or something like that. It can be, or 12, but 12 is also not cheap. So it's much better.
No, I'm glad to hear you say this, and we've talked about it even with pros that are in like the top 100, how much stringing costs at tournaments, which is ridiculous. And we know some players on tour travel. I know Marcos Giron travels with a portable stringer, and he's restringing his rackets every night, and he's now top like 55 on the ATP. So I totally understand that frustration, and then even just the cost of everything, period, is just like a lot. And then when you're traveling to tournament and hotels and coaching and tournament and food and laundry, and it's crazy. But the passion definitely shows. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about some of the other struggles that you guys deal with on the professional side of tennis. And we kind of talked about this before, Grisha, you came back on, even playing tournaments together. How do you guys create your schedule? And if one person's doing better than the other, how do you play the same tournaments, or do you? Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I might repeat myself, but the thing is that, I told you that now at least we have the ITF points and stuff, so it's kind of our decision where we play, because before it was just, question of luck. It was like, oh, now I'm I don't know, in a city in the other side of the world, but I should go there because I might not have another chance. It was all the time something like this. So it was one more issue that we had. So like this, at least we can play close by tournaments because it's easier to get in. But I don't know.
That's if you talk people who have that one magical one ATF point. It used to be one ATP point, target one ATF point, and it's actually like more important than the ATP, because if you're trying to get into a futures, into an ITF Pro tournament with your national ranking, there's almost no way you're getting in, because they changed the system. You could, if you had a high enough national ranking, you could get with that, and that's kind of what my strategic sort of thing. Like, I was planning to only play national tournaments and then get into the futures and get the ATP points. But now, since they've changed the system, I lost like 2 or 3 years of professional competing because I didn't have that ITF point. And I couldn't get any wild cards, and there was no way I could get in. And just like not that long ago, I finally got that ITF point, and now I can finally play all of the tournaments around us.
Yeah, you guys, I was just looking at your YouTube and it looks like you started a new series on getting your second ATP points, which is really cool.
Points, yeah.
No, but like, do you remember? Okay, you might not because this might be an American thing, but do you remember Red Foo from LMFAO? You're
course.
also very young.
Yes.
Okay.
It's our hero.
Okay,
Yeah.
Party Rock, let's go. He was dating Vika for a minute, and like his goal in life, I don't know if it still is, but he's in California and down in LA. His goal in life was to get 1 ATP point. And so he'd enter all these tournaments in California, and like we're talking about like there's some good players out here, guys. Like yeah. And so I don't think he's reached that point yet, but it's a struggle. So it made me laugh. Anyways.
I would love to play a match against him. That for sure. Like if he's still out there trying, yeah, let's just do that.
Red
like
Foo.
shuffling, instead of running, we would shuffle.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, so definitely a struggle. What is your current ranking? I have to ask. Where are our rankings right now?
There are better things to talk about, honestly. Our ranking is
like just the ability to get into the tournament. That's it, and then I'll see. Yeah, I get semis of futures, then I'll start counting my ranking.
No, I love that. But it's super interesting to have these conversations because I mentioned this a lot. People that watch tennis on TV like assume that there's like only 100 players in the world. And it's crazy because I, will interact with players and help send gear and stuff like that. And I'm always like kind of looking like, okay, what's their WTA ranking? What's their ITF ranking? What tournaments are they playing? What's their win-loss look like? Like it's more than just a number. And there can be someone that's ranked outside the top 500, and that doesn't mean they're not a good player. They're still grinding. They're still playing all these tournaments. So it's got a good perspective.
It's just at this level, the ranking is not very, let's say, real, because first of all, for example, only by getting 1 point, you jump way too much of distance. Like now I think I have 3 ITF points. And now I'm around like 1,400, maybe something like that. But when I had 1, I was 2,000. So I mean that it's about points at the end. It's like I didn't get 1,000 people better. I don't know how to say just by winning a few matches. No, it's that's why it's not that real. That's why it's what Grisha was saying. Like the plan is just to get to a point where it really says something about us. But for now, it's just we're fighting there. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, you guys, like I said, you're still young. Like most American kids your age are still in college at this point, playing college tennis. And then like they won't even start this little ITF journey that like some people, I'm mad props for you guys. Keep grinding. Do you guys though set goals for yourself, as whether it's how far you're making it into a tournament or where you think you're going to be in the next 6 months to a year?
I mean, it's a little bit hard to set goals because the goal is to be top, but that's just like the final goal, and then the intermediate goals are kind of hard to predict because tennis is a lot to do with you just being good at tennis, you being mentally strong and all of that, but also luck.
Yeah, right.
Because sometimes you can get a good draw, sometimes you can get a bad draw, and stuff like that. And if you get a good draw, you can end up in semis. If you get a bad draw, you might lose in first round of main draw or whatever. So it's a little bit hard for us to set goals. Also, right now it's not as relevant, but the pandemic sort of broke many plans that we've been setting up for us. But yeah, and also the financial aspect of traveling to tournaments. It's not the cheapest thing to play tennis. If you want to go for a week, it's still a doable thing. But if you want to go for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, which is what makes the most sense, because that's when you get into the rhythm of playing, and everything that can cost quite a bit depending on the country and stuff. So, when we get the opportunity, we go for the tournament. We try, but we don't sort of set exact goals or exact stages, because it's kind of hard to do that for now.
It might sound a bit too like general or like too philosophical, let's say, but the main goal I think that we have is to gain confidence, basically, to as a player, because when you're so behind when you're playing qualies, and even though you like do a few good matches and you win few matches, but it still doesn't count as too much of a big deal. You don't feel that much of a I'm an established professional player. So the goal is to be in a place where you're like, all right, I've done something. I'm here, So that's why I think, something like that would be, in my case at least,
That makes sense. And what about your channel? Do other players know about it or comment on it, or like even scout you on your channel? Because I was like watching some of the videos, and you're very honest about your strengths, your weaknesses. You show point play.
Arik had a few moments where he was like, he was on a tournament and someone would come up to him and be like, "Yo, do I know you?"
That's awesome, though, right? I mean, or
No.
I would assume.
No. Now it's a tradition. Like every time we go to a tournament, sometimes people. It was, I don't know, in Georgia in the last tournament, somebody knew us also. But before that, I was in Portugal, and I don't know. A guy was like, "Do I know you?" And I said, like, "Of course, I play all these tournaments, man. For sure, you've seen me somewhere." And he's like, "No, I've seen your videos doing old tennis players." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if to be proud." So,
That also might help with confidence, I think, because it's pretty cool that you have, like we've already talked about, your audience is definitely very positive, which is great. So maybe we can build confidence with that too. And also, I don't think people who don't create content realize how much goes into what you guys actually put out. Like, you're constantly filming, using different angles, making sure everything looks good, I'm sure. Like, tell me a little bit about like behind the scenes.
Well, it sort of depends on the video, and we kind of have it sort of established with the racket reviews, because the format is already set and we know exactly what we need to film, and we can film a racket review in a day, in a matter of a couple of hours, and then editing. Well, the first racket review that I edited, I probably did it in like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days, But now a racket review maybe takes me 5 to 6 hours to edit, which is it's doable. But then if we do something like a travel vlog, like we did with the tournaments, the Gladiators on Tour series, that's a little more complicated, because there's a lot more that goes into it. Also, when we forget to film something, we had to film from different parts of the world and sort of like put everything together, and then the video is like almost half long. That takes a lot to edit, that I don't know, maybe 18 hours in total, maybe 20, I don't know, but it's a lot. Yeah. And then just coming up with the ideas for something that is not a racket review also, sometimes takes a bit of time.
yeah, but the struggle is more about like, we have a lot of ideas, but we should kind of, I think, no, you, Grisha, will agree that we should grow a bit more to do some certain contents. So it's like, that's why we do more racket reviews, because that's what people search for. They're interested in. So it's not that I don't think that we have lack of ideas, but it's that for now we should do stuff that people engage with, they're interested in tennis equipment and stuff. So yeah.
Right, but when it's a new idea, you have the idea, but you have to sort of put it into a certain format. You got to figure out how to film it, how to make it interesting, how to not make it boring. And
how do you guys decide which rackets you review? Or are they sent to you? Do you don't decide? How do you pick? Because I saw some Dunlop racket reviews, and obviously the Pure Arrow. Are the brands reaching out to you? Is
No, that's our friends from Tennis Warehouse Europe. They're no, yeah, Tennis Warehouse has been actually like carrying us for I don't know for how long, for almost most of the latest racket reviews that we have. That's thanks to Tennis
nice.
Warehouse,
Yeah.
and really they really help us out because they also don't say like, okay, you need to say this and that, you need to thank us, you need no conditions at all. We can say whatever we want, and there has been not the best not the best feedback on certain rackets, and we can do it, which is good. Although some people are like, yeah, since you've been getting help from Tennis Warehouse, your grades have been going up. And we're like, no, they haven't. Like,
No.
absolutely the same in terms- yeah, objectivity.
Well, it's funny. I actually didn't know the answer to that. I didn't know if they were sending you stuff or not. I know you guys you are like an affiliate of Tennis Warehouse Europe. I knew that, but so that's good to hear. I love hearing that. And our Europe team is awesome to work with. I'm sure you guys, which also I should bring up, you guys are superstars in that review when Chris flew to Europe to do the super review of the Nike. I still mess up the name of the shoe, the Nike Zoom NXT, the bouncy, the replacement of the GP Turbo. And then I kind of did want to talk.
Oh, what an experience!
Oh,
that
yeah.
trip.
Yeah, how was
That
it?
was awesome.
Was it
That
fun?
was so, yeah. When we got the and it was like Tennis Warehouse Europe, we're inviting you to. We were like, whoa. We acted cool, but we were like,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're like, okay, this time we will accept. Yeah, but inside we were like,
yeah,
yeah. But inside we were celebrating like crazy.
Oh, that's so cool. Maybe there'll be a few more in the next year or so. Just saying, maybe. What about shoes? What shoes are you guys wearing? Are you wearing whatever you can get, whatever's the most durable? What shoes do you wear?
Well, it's basically the best balance of price and durability.
Yeah, right?
Because
And inventory.
yeah, especially me, Arik, not so much. I go through hardcore shoes in a month. That's like a good time for me. Like that's a good lasting shoe, because I get a hole immediately on the side of the shoe and you can throw it away.
What shoe is doing that for you? Or like what's the most durable right now for you on hard courts? Our listeners would love to know.
Right now, I'm playing with different shoes because here in Russia I'm playing with some Babolat shoe. I don't even know the name of it. And then in Barcelona I have the Adidas. What was it, Arik?
Barricade?
No, not the Barricade.
I think it's called Court Adi Zero or something like that. The Court.
The Ubersonic.
I don't know. I said a lot of names now. I'm sorry, but it's just there's one type. Basic in sorry to interrupt, but I think Adidas makes the best, not expensive but decent shoes. Like I don't want to talk too bad about some brands, but for example, with Nike, you have to pay premium to get a good shoe. On the other side, for example, with Asics, is the same thing. Like they have their top 3 models that are incredible, but if you don't want to spend more than 120 euros for shoes that is gonna last us maybe a month or 2 for Grisha maximum, so it's like, I don't know if that makes sense, So that's why I end up instead of looking for the brand, I'm like, I like touching shoes. I try to feel as if it's strong or not, stuff like that. So that's why I'm not consistent with any brand, but I think mainly Adidas does very decent shoes, not an expensive price, let's say.
It is the shoe that I have right now.
What is it? Sorry, say it again.
Huh?
What is it?
It's Adidas Game Court.
Okay. Wow. So I love that you guys are talking about this and price points, because we talk about price points all the time and we always say, like, if you can afford the top, pay for it. Great. But you guys are literally like grinding every day on the court and you're not going to the top shoes. You're going to the price point that you can afford.
I would absolutely love to go for an expensive shoe because I do feel the difference.
Yeah.
And like my feet are pretty sensitive to shoes and I would love to to play in those top-notch shoes. But it's a pretty big investment if you go through them like this. So you gotta settle with what you got. So
Nice. Our audience is gonna love
Yeah.
hearing that. That's very relatable, I think.
Yeah, because I think it's not about having or not having the money. It's not about if you have it or not. It's sometimes it's not that logical to spend that money. Like if you're a cat, if you play once a week or something like that, yeah, buy a good one, because it's gonna last for a long time, and just enjoy the design, everything. Uh, but if you know that you're gonna destroy them, absolutely, well, then you know.
Okay, I have a few more questions for you guys. What have you tested this year that surprised you in a good or a bad way? Any rackets that like you weren't expecting to be good that were good, or vice versa, you're expecting them to be good and they weren't good?
all right, you go. I'll try to fix the lighting situation.
All right. Well, in my case, what surprised me, I normally play. It's not that I normally play with them, because I used to play with, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I used to play with blades, both 18, like 98, both 16 by 19 and 1820. Like I had both of the models. But like in the latest years, I always use 100 in square, like spin power rackets all the time, like 16 by 19. But then suddenly we picked up the latest blade, 18 by 20, the 98, and that was I don't know. I didn't want it to accept the fact that I like it, but I really liked it. It was great. And well, of course, the design unconsciously helps you like stuff. You're like, I want to like this because it looks good. But anyway, like that was a good surprise, let's say. And I don't remember now a racket that disappointed me. There were rackets that I didn't like, but to disappoint me, Grisha, your turn. Let me think. I'm not too fast at this. You go.
I play with like a control oriented racket, right? It's even though it's 100 inches squared, it's an 18 by 20, and it's sort of like control oriented. But the newest Head Speed MP, the one with the Oxetic,
Mhm.
surprised me a lot, because I don't really like the Head MP lineup, even though I have played with it in the past, because it's not stable enough for my tennis. It's way too powerful, way too spin, and not what I like. But with the new one, I don't know if it's the Oxetic. I'm assuming it's because of that. But the feel is so much better, and the stability is just way better. So it's sort of like when people ask, should I upgrade from the previous Speed MP to the new one? I usually say yes. Because sometimes it's like I'm like, I mean, if your racket is still okay, it's not too beat up or anything, stick with yours. But here I'm like, yeah, go for it, because it's an upgrade for sure.
These words from Grisha are indirectly he's talking to me. I just want you to know, because he wants to, yeah, he's using this platform just to do that. So yeah, I've remembered a racket that disappointed me. It was Pure Aero VS. Like it's not that I had huge expectations, but normally Aeros are rackets that I like, but the VS is like they made a very in between, like hybridish something racket that is not good for. I mean, I didn't feel any advantage in anything. It's like very neutralish thing. So like a disappointment would be that one for sure.
I can see that. I would understand that. But I'm going back to the Speed MP upgrade. All right. Did you not like the new one, or have you just not had an opportunity, or you like to stick with what you know?
No, it's just I said this way too many times that I kind of hate the fact that now we have this YouTube channel, because I use more and more rackets, and I understand how horrible my racket is. Before I was very, I was cool. It was
You
like a
had no
decent racket.
idea.
But then you start
Yeah.
trying stuff, yeah, and you're like, no, this one is better. No, but the other one is also better. So the latest version is very very good. Aesthetic, how's it called?
The
The
Oxetic, yeah.
latest racket is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that apart from that one, I mean, if I change my racket, I would change it with something else. I have few stuff in my mind that I'm about to try and stuff.
Stay
Let's see.
tuned.
Maybe
Stay
next year
tuned.
you see me a bit different. But
There will, yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure there will be a video.
But we're still waiting to
yeah,
try
yeah.
a racket. Arik is gonna like less than the racket he's playing with right now.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
No, that's cool. And I'm sure like for you guys, when you get the new stuff to try, it's very exciting. All you want to do is like get on the court and hit with it. Oh, depending on the thing, but especially if like good cosmetics, good on paper, you're like, yes, let's go play. So I know the feeling. What else? I feel like you guys fit right in with like the Tennis Warehouse crew. Like we could just chat about like gear all day and funny tennis stories, but I won't take up too much more of your time. Who do you guys look up to on tour? Favorite, like, is there anyone on tour that you're like, okay, he motivates me, or he or she, that's like what we're gunning for? Like, who are you looking up to? Or no one?
All right, I go. Well, I've always been Roger fan. Now it's not his best moment, but like Roger has been always my example, in everything. To be honest, sometimes it was a bad thing because like he's always producing these perfection tennis moments, matches, and everything. So you're like you try to do stuff that aren't very realistic. This happened to me when I was younger. You know, the game style that I liked wasn't game style that I had to do, Like I would go for this drop shots all the time, slice, serve, and volley and stuff, and it's not my profile, So Roger did good and bad for me, but I love him. And then when it comes to people that were a good example for me, for example, I was very happy to see Choric come back now because, well, I think that he's one of these guys that is very hardworking, even in his technique. You see that he does everything very, uh, very, I don't know, very well put together. Like as an example of what I could do better, it's him, something like that. He doesn't do anything super talented. Like he's not a Kyrgios, let's say, but he's a very good example as a human being, as how you have to behave yourself on court and how he plays. So yeah, and then of course I have some other players that I would love to play, like Fonini, Nick Kyrgios. I mean, if I start, well, you can already imagine what I like. But,
What
yeah,
do you like to play against from the top 100? It's like anyone, I
Right.
like to play with.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah.
I'm thinking about Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, right.
No, Arik is not a big fan of Novak, but
Nah.
for me, he's the
No.
the guy that I look up to. Let's say, mainly because I like to think that I have a similar playing style. That everyone tells me that I'm wrong.
I'm controlling myself. I'm not laughing, Grisha. I'm controlling myself. I'm like,
I'm not laughing either.
Yeah, so
and I'm Roger.
Yeah.
about the same.
I know people like you. People call up Tennis Warehouse all the time and say, I play just like Djokovic. What racket should I use? Nice. Good for you. If only I could be as like flexible and bendy and fast as Djokovic too. Like, oh, that footwork, man. He's
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. No. Djokovic is the closest I think we've seen to like a perfect when it comes to perfect like technique and stuff. I might not like him as well in many stuff. I don't want to go there, but of course, no. Tennistically, the guy is the most complete one. Everybody talks about that now.
Oh, I love these debates. You guys should just like come hang out in our office because like right now when I go back to my desk, the US Open will be on and we'll have the mixed channel. So there's like 6 courts going and like we've all filled out our draws and like certain people will like just start talking trash depending on like because we all have our favorite players. It's pretty funny.
Who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? Well, of course, Roger, obviously. But now I feel like I'm like I'm the old side of tennis right now. So I'm like, ooh, people like we can't. I don't know. Anyways, he's gonna last forever because he's Roger. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tend to like players with like a lot of personality and flair. So like Stefanos Tsitsipas, I kind of hope he does well this U.S. Open. I'm really hoping that Coco Gauff on the women's side does well. Who else? I used to love Alex Dokopolov just because he was so
Opa. Uh-huh.
yeah, and like I just like very like personality. I go for a personality. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
look good. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm trying to think. We've got some good Americans right now in tennis. Tommy Paul and yeah. So it's always fun.
I'm happy that Freeze kind of had this growing moment suddenly.
Yeah. Right.
Fritz. I don't know. I always liked his forehand. Very like I don't know, fast accelerating and stuff. But that's why I'm happy to see him, for example, getting better and better. So,
Yeah. No, and he's still quite young too. He had so much success, I feel like early, and then he kind of like had his plateau, and
Yeah.
now he's back up. So
Talking about young players, what Alcaraz doing? Can someone explain, please? I'm not understanding that human being at all.
who's this?
Alcaraz.
Oh, I know, right?
What?
But then also like FAA and I don't know. There's so many. Yeah, there's so
no,
many.
Alcaraz makes you feel bad about yourself because you might think like, all right, I'm fast on court. Then you see him, I'm like, all right, I'm a turtle. Okay, I'm strong. No, not really. Yeah.
That's too funny. Does he still train in Spain too, Alcaraz?
I think
I
so.
think so, but
You got to go infiltrate.
They never invited us to sparring or anything for some reason. Not sure why.
Why not?
not sure why. They feel like they don't have our level. I think that's case. Give him a few years. Yeah,
Fine, you're at our level. We'll accept. Just letting
exactly. All right.
Okay, last two things before we completely go off the rails. Do you guys do any specific like dietary restrictions? We're talking about some of these players, and some of them have become plant-based, and it's not that easy to eat that way. Yes, that's my favorite. Yes. Okay. Okay, Milka, we're looking for a sponsorship.
That's a good start, right?
Balance.
I've been to some diet. What is the person called who creates
Nutritionist. Nutrition.
Oh, okay. I've been to
Nutrition.
several nutritionists
Or dietitian.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Dietitian.
And they planned several diets for me. Neither of them worked because I saw no point following that because I felt absolutely no difference. And maybe that's because we're not playing 5-hour-long matches of 5 sets, maybe. But just eating whatever my body tells me to eat works fine for me to play a 3.5 hours long match, let's just say. Maybe I'm not going to get to the 5 hours, but 3.5 with my diet, I'm fine. So I'm not following any diet. I'm not eating bad. I'm not eating junk food. I try to eat healthy, but I'm not following any specific diet on calories and carbs and proteins and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why I think when we say we don't have a diet, people get this wrong idea, but we're for sure eating much healthier than the majority of people that don't do this level sport. I don't know.
Right.
Like,
no, that makes sense.
maybe I don't have a scheduled gram to gram, written meal, but I always try to have my carbs like protein, and then, we eat well for sure. And yeah, you saw that sometimes I enjoy maybe some chocolate. So,
balance.
Yeah, but yeah, that's why. And I did it also like a dietitian, you said? Yeah.
Dietitian.
I went to a profession, yeah, and they did me like a diet, but I think it does work because it's more mental. I'm not sure if you really feel the difference, physically, but the fact it's like training well. No, it's like if you're there every day giving your all the let's say, it's like you feel like you're healthier. So only that the fact that you know that you're giving the effort makes you feel better. For me, it's something like that.
Yes, I love it. Where are you guys going in the next 6 months? What's on your calendar to finish out the year?
Well, I'm about to go to Tunisia. Monastir is a place where it's like the resort is made only for ITFs almost. It's like the whole year. So it's like whenever you want, almost there's futures. The level used to be not that high. Now it's getting higher and higher because, well, a lot of Europeans, like Spanish players and stuff, are going there. Or because of COVID, a lot of people from South America, or for example, a lot of Argentinians would, like, once they do a travel, once they do that long traveling, they would stay there for very long time. And Argentina or Brazil has some good tennis. So the level basically got a bit higher there. But, well, basically for now, I have planned to play in Monastir, Tunisia. And then there are a few tournaments around Europe, like Spain and Portugal. So I'm going to be around here.
I'm not planning to travel so far, so I'm just going to play the tournament in Europe. I'm not signing into any tournaments because, if you miss the deadlines, you get fines. And that's not the most beautiful thing to see when you go on your iPin. So I into tournaments that are going to go almost for sure. And sometimes Arik is like, calls me a week before a tournament and he's like, hey, Grisha, I'm going to that tournament. And I'm like, okay, I'll sign in as well. And the deadlines are passed. But yeah, I'll play the tournament in Europe. Not sure which ones yet. There's Italy, Greece, there's Spain, probably the ones in Spain. But I don't have a concrete plan yet.
Maybe he's being strategic and he's like, ooh, if he doesn't get in, I can win it.
That's my plan. Please don't.
Sorry. Have you guys played each other at all recently in a tournament? Have you come across each other in the draw?
Not recently, and we don't like to talk about playing against each other ever because we are both scared of losing. We don't know who's going to win, but we try.
We're all very competitive, so I don't know. We'll leave that there. Okay, where can people find your content? Where can they follow you? Plug yourselves.
We have a YouTube channel called Gladiators Tennis. It's just like that. And then we have an Instagram that's, guess what, also called Gladiators Tennis. And my personal account, in case you want to follow on Instagram, Grisha Kuklin, and Arik's is your nickname still the same? Because he keeps changing it for some reason. Is it still Arik Stepanian?
Yes, it's Arik Stepanian. Yes.
Yes.
By the time this airs, it might have changed, but we'll put all of the links in the show notes so anyone can click and follow.
No, I try to change, but to be original, but it's not always too successful. So I'm like back to reality, back to Arik Stepanian.
He changes it back to Arik Stepanian.
And it's not like Roger Federer for life at like 3, 2, 1 or anything like that.
Roger for life.
Roger for life. Or perfect, both the RF spelled with capitals. Anyways, those are my accounts. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was obviously very hard for us to coordinate based on your schedule, my schedule. So I really appreciate you taking the time on your break from competing and traveling and doing all that. And I'm going to make sure that our friends in Europe keep sending you cool stuff to review because your content is awesome.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Of course. And we'll have to do a...
It was a pleasure.
Oh, yay. I was going to say, we'll have to keep checking in. And when you get the third point, fourth, fifth, we'll just do check-ins every time you get more points. And when Arik decides to switch to the new Speed MP.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.